My name is Mora Tamar Ornstein. I've been teaching here in YAYOE for 8 years.
Mrs. Ornstein is an unbelievably professional mechaneches.
There's a difference between being a teacher and being a mechaneches. Mrs. Ornstein understands each and every one of her girls. She has a plan for each and every one of them. And in her very beautiful, inspirational, and Toradic ways, she brings each and every one of them to the point where they can stand on their own 2 feet and pursue the Torah that is their legacy.
I know that everybody loved her, and I know all her students loved her, and I loved her as my neighbor. She was always my neighbor, and I had her number on my speed dial. What more can I tell you?
I try to bring this idea of challenging my students and stretching my students in a very positive way. I feel that if students are challenged to work on themselves and push beyond what they thought they were capable of, they come out so much stronger and they feel so good about themselves.
When Rabbi Orlok was here years ago and observed through a window Mrs. Ornstein teaching, he commented to me that she looks like a ballerina who is conducting an orchestra. It's such a beautiful phrase. It's an orchestra because every girl is playing her particular part, and they're being led by someone who understands that chinuch is a dance.
YAYOE clearly is a place that they want the teachers and the students to continue growing in any way, shape, or form that they can. I introduced this idea to Mrs. Schwartzmer of having weekly mother-daughter learning sessions, honing in on particularly what these girls really can gain from. We actually call it shalshelet, which is a chain.
The Shalshelis Bas Mitzvah program is an incredible program that is Mrs. Ornstein's brainchild. She thought of the idea of putting together a comprehensive program for girls who are becoming 12 and helping them understand what this new role as a Bas Mitzvah means to them. The name Shalshelis, meaning a chain, that embodies this Mesorah that's been passed down from mother to daughter throughout the years.
And we introduced actually our first Shalshelet mother-daughter Bas Mitzvah learning. It was really actually very exciting. I had the mothers and the daughters, everybody linked literally their arms. So we had this long link of lots of mothers and lots of daughters, and I took the end and I weaved these mother-daughters throughout the room to the point where we had this huge chain, and I said, stop and look at this beautiful chain, look at this beautiful shalshelet. And it's not just us, but clearly our shalshelet, our chain, goes to your parents and goes back to your grandparents, and you're connected to your great-grandparents.
Knowing that this is a Yerusha for every Jewish girl, that this is our Yerusha, to realize that this is shaykh to me, and what can I do to develop this in myself?
All of us who are involved in chinuch know that who we are as people is much more important and has a much more dramatic impact on the students than what it is that we teach. Mrs. Ornstein is an absolutely perfect role model of the Bas Torah that we want each and every one of our girls to grow up to be. Her midos, her tznius, her knowledge of Torah, her bein olam v'chavero. If we would have each and every one of our girls grow up to be like Mrs. Ornstein, so we know that our school would be an extremely successful institution.
My name is Esther Saidian, and I had Mrs. Ornstein about 20 years ago as an 8th grade Limudei Kodesh teacher in New York. Having Mrs. Ornstein as a teacher helped me have an idea of what a role model should be. And at a crucial point in my life, as an 8th grade student, that was a marking point where I was going to go in high school, what path I was going to take next. And Mrs. Ornstein really put that right in front of us very clearly. When I moved back to LA, which was about 5 years ago, I ran into Mrs. Ornstein, and I'll never forget that day because I had such a special relationship with her back in 8th grade at such an important time in my life. And here I was, years later, married, and I was living the life that Mrs. Ornstein showed us as a role model back in 8th grade.
A teacher is someone who gives over information. A mechaneches is someone who takes Rashi's definition of chinuch as being the beginning of the entrance of a person into their destiny and figures out the many steps that it takes to bring each and every child from where they are to where we want them to be.
Well, the bracha I can give to Mrs. Ornstein is Yehi Ratzon Shimalu Kol Mishalosecha L'Tova. And Rosh Hashiva taught me how to make that bracha.